So going through a divorce is much harder than getting married, because you're dealing with the finances and when you're so emotionally charged. You're dividing up your everything. You're dividing up your marital home, the time you spend with your children, bank accounts, etc., etc. So I felt completely embarrassed when I was going through my divorce because I did not have a clue about the finances. And mainly that was because my ex-husband is a chartered accountant and financial director. So he took that role. But I was still mortified that I sat with my solicitor and I didn't have a clue about anything, particularly pension. But I know I'm not alone. I know through my clients that a lot of women feel exactly the same, that they've trusted their partners and they've handed that over to them. And it's not until they come to face a divorce that they realise that maybe they should have known a little bit more. So today I have joining me Luke, and Luke Hill is a financial planner, and he has, through his career, dealt with women that have gone through a divorce. So I'll hand over to you, Luke, so you can tell everyone about how you can help them.
Yeah, I think a couple of points you've mentioned are quite common, but yeah, as a financial planner and somebody that helps people with their finances, a lot of this kind of rings true. I think you're right. I think a lot of people don't understand and take for granted that things are being organized on their behalf. And I think a good kind of course of action is to try and get involved. And I know that's easier said than done, but a good professional meeting, you should ask you both to be at the appointment, and you should take advantage of that. I think that's the first thing that should be done. And also in the world of finance, there's a lot of allowances that an individual gets a year. I'm not going to go into too much detail now, but a couple will naturally use both persons' allowances to give them tax breaks. And if somebody's tax allowance is being used by their partner for obviously gains for the partnership, then it's always best to try and get an understanding of exactly what's being used, because obviously if the marriage was to end or there was to be divorce, it's important to have an understanding of what you've got available, basically. So yeah, you're absolutely right. It's not uncommon, but I personally invite both parties to my appointments because I think it's really important that everybody understands what's going on. And to be honest with you, if things are being organized for two people, compliance wise, they both need to be there. So people in my sort of industry should be having conversations with all parties involved.
So you're talking about prior to any divorce, prior to even having any idea that you might eventually go through divorce. This is something that you would advise any couple to do within their relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there needs to be, okay, one of them might understand things a little bit more, but when both people are involved and affairs are being arranged for the both of them, absolutely, before divorce or anything like that, both people should be getting involved to just get some sort of understanding of what's going on, because if something was to happen in future, that'll make the process a lot more easier.
And I know hindsight's a wonderful thing.
Oh, it is, absolutely.
But that in my world, as I say, I trusted my then husband, yeah. and didn't show. I hold my hand up. I wasn't interested. I didn't have a financial mind, if you like. I have now, but at the time I didn't. And so I was, I didn't even know how much was in the pension pot.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what company the pension was held under.
Yeah.
And so when I sat there with my solicitor, who then advised me to see a financial planner, and I was being asked all these questions, I just felt so vague, because I said, I don't know.
No,
I
you're
don't
right.
know. And the more I said I don't know, the more I thought, oh my God, this is just so embarrassing. I look such a fool. And I felt, because of what happened in my divorce, that I felt such a fool because I hadn't seen things going on. Then this added to it. It's just your whole self-esteem and confidence is shot to bits. So, you know, I would say now, you know, and I said to you before, Luke, I've even mentioned it briefly to some friends, you know, just go along with your husband. Say, can I come along next time you go and see you're speaking to your financial advisor? I'd like to know a little bit more about it. And you don't have to know it in depth though, Luke, do you?
Absolutely not. No, exactly. You just need to have, obviously the more the better, but to have just a general understanding of what's going on and where things are. I think that's quite an important aspect, is to understand what's doing what. And then at least if something happens, you know where to go to get that information anyway.
Yes.
But there's a couple of things with that as well. I mean, yes, this will continue to happen, but in terms of the people I've dealt with or dealing with, I'm noticing a lot more people getting involved in their own finances, which is great. So part of that's obviously pushed by both parties, but I'm noticing naturally people are wanting to understand a bit more about it, and that's great.
Why is that then? Why is that now?
I don't know. I think in today's climate, people have had a bit more time to kind of reflect on what they've got and what things are doing. There's a lot of news about all sorts of the markets and finances, and I think people have just sat up to take stock and gone, actually, what is going on with this? How are my finances feeding into the bigger picture? Which is great, because a financial planner should be a coach as well. So they should be giving people knowledge, not just doing things for them, which is obviously important. So that's a really important aspect as well. And I think as people come out the other side of something like that, it's important to remember that it's never too late. It is never too late. I think for people in my profession, we're there to understand somebody's circumstances. We have to get a really good picture. So never feel bad about coming to somebody like me and just say, look, I don't know what's going on. I think I've got this and I just need some help.
Yeah, I think people are afraid to ask because they think the question they might be asking is a silly one.
Yeah,
but no question is silly. No, you know, if you're unsure about something, 9 out of 10 times somebody else has the same question too.
100%, absolutely. And we've discussed it before, Paula, but I think when people come out of a marriage, a divorce situation, because they've just dealt with solicitors the whole time who are kind of paid by the hour almost, everybody's clock watching. So when it comes to financial advice, it should be the opposite. You should be sat in a room with somebody that's really trying to understand your circumstances, not looking at the time or for the whole period. And then that way you should feel more at ease, more information is discussed, and then obviously that should provide peace of mind. But what I'm trying to say is a financial planner deals with things differently than a solicitor or someone like that.
And I know that a lot of people, when they obviously, like you're just saying, they're sitting there, they know that per hour a solicitor charges, you know, £250, £300 up. And I think they make the assumption that a financial planner does exactly the same. But actually, my understanding is, it's from what I've been through, is that a financial planner doesn't actually take any money from you until you invest in the package or the services that you're going to provide for them.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, everybody's different, so I won't vouch for everybody, but I'd say a majority of the profession will only charge if something's implemented. I think that's the key word. So in terms of the advice and the initial getting to know each other, I know myself personally that's not charged for, because in my opinion, you can't do the job correctly until you understand somebody's circumstances. Sometimes you talk to people and nothing happens. That's just the way it goes. But fortunately, most of the time, there are areas where a value can be added. So yeah, don't worry, and ask people as well. So if you're seeing somebody, say, look, is there any charge for this? An advisor should say up front, really, or financial planner, but you're right, it's usually just for the implementation of the work, not the build up to it.
Yeah. And, you know, the thing is, as I say to all my clients from the very outset, that clarity is key.
Yeah.
Because people going through a divorce, one of the overwhelming emotions is fear.
Yeah.
And the fear is, where am I going? What will I have? Where will I be living?
Yeah.
What am I going to be able? How am I going to provide for my children? You know, what do I need to earn and have a month to pay my bills?
Yeah.
And all these feelings, just, you know, these thoughts, I mean, just go round and round and round and scare the life out of each and every one of us. So the clarity is actually coming to somebody like you, who will then look at what's presented, what roughly is in the pot, look at pensions. You know, you have to obviously find the information, but then it can be such a great feeling when somebody like you says, okay, you know, we're going to look at your life from now until you retire, or from now until you're in your 90s, and we're going to we can forecast based on history of other cases that this is how things are going to go. If your child's going to go to university, this is what you're going to need to afford to pay for that. You know, if you want some holidays, this is what, you know, how many, if you can take a holiday a year, I'm right, aren't saying that you will look at all of that. And I think what happens then is the person with the fear has had that has got that clarity, which is dials down the emotion by a couple of notches.
Absolutely.
And they go, oh, you know, I know what I'm doing now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You're right. I think the most enjoyable part of my job is telling somebody they're going to be okay. And there's a few things that have to happen first before I can say that, but that is one of the best aspects of my job. And you're absolutely right. A good financial planner should be able to forecast to some extent what the future beholds for that person. A good planner should be able to, if you've got a 55-year-old in front of you, they shouldn't be thinking about a 55-year-old. They should be thinking about a 65, 75, even 85-year-old. So good planning forecasts for decades ahead. And that's what gives the peace of mind. So, and back to a point we've mentioned before as well, Paulo, is it's not just about the investments or the pensions. We can take a step back from that. I've dealt with people that don't have an idea about bank accounts or how to rearrange their credit cards, more basic stuff like that. So before we run, let's walk a little bit and cover off the basics. So again, with advice and planning, somebody should be able to help you do those aspects as well.
Yeah, and I think that is really, really important.
Yeah.
Because not everyone has their own bank account. No. They've had, you know, joint bank account in the marriage, and it's understanding right now they need to set up their own account. So if somebody, because I know you've said to me before, Luke, that you used to work in a bank helping people that were in this situation. So
absolutely.
If somebody was, you know, they're thinking about walking away from their relationship, they've just been delivered the news that their partner's gone off with someone else, what are the first steps that you would, you know, suggest for them to take?
Yeah, absolutely. And before I start, I'm not saying all financial planners do this, but because I've got
because you
might be watching this going, what's he talking about? But no, because I've got a bit of retail finance experience, I kind of overlap with this area. But yeah, you're right. So if somebody's thinking about leaving a relationship, it's about understanding kind of what's in place. But before that, if they feel that they don't have an account in their name already, just in their name, a good idea is to go about and set one up. And most banks should be accommodating with that as well. And the process these days is a lot more easier than what it used to be. I mean, you can open accounts online, for example, with Chase and bits and pieces. Obviously, some consideration as to how that information is, or confirmation is sent back to that individual. It could be quite a sensitive subject within the relationship already. And the last thing you want is obviously somebody opening somebody else's post, for example. So considerations around maybe an online platform, and there's plenty of good ones out there. So yeah, definitely opening something up in your name to begin with, and then take a step back and try and understand what else is out there.
So when you say an online platform, what do you mean?
So I mean, like online banks. So I mean,
Okay.
there's loads out there.
Yeah.
Obviously, you got your more traditional people, HSBCs, your Santanders, your NatWests. They obviously do opening things online as well, but you've got more kind of new players on the market. So you've got like your Monzos, you've got Chase, who are very popular at the moment as well. So just try and figure out what sort of content you want, but all these providers can do it very easily
And sensitively, can
yeah,
you
exactly.
say to them, look, I'm going through a divorce,
Yeah,
it's got to be private, and so it's handled sensitively.
exactly.
Yeah.
And to be honest, most will have an option when you set something up to say, look, do you just want online statements? And obviously, if you're going through a bit of a tricky spot in your relationship, that's probably advisable to have everything online. Only you can access it as well, which is really important.
And that's another important point, actually, isn't it? About changing passwords and setting up new passwords and maybe a new email address, so that, you know, if you're still living under the same roof but going through a divorce, it's still kept private to yourself, and they're not privy to your now personal information, because you're going to go separate ways. So that's how you have to divide everything now, that you have your own personal private and confidential information. So that's been really, really helpful. And I know, Luke, you know, from my own experience, that from somebody that was that fearful, embarrassed, ashamed person, I now, I'm not saying I'm an expert at all, but I now have I have my money invested in and I don't look at it every day, but every now and again I look and I think, oh dear, because of COVID it's gone down, and it's gone back up again. And sometimes I can say to my financial planner, you know, oh, is it okay if you know, it's gone up a little bit, can I take a little bit out? You know, it's not millions, but it's just in some ways quite exciting, and having that that freedom is also a great feeling.
Absolutely. And finding someone you trust is really important. A good financial planner should almost be like a friend, somebody you can talk to about unrelated things sometimes. So.
And you are that person. So
I'm trying to be.
No, you are, you know, you're relatable, and that's what people need. So what I can do is I'll put in the comments or whatever your details and email address, etc. So if anyone wants to get in contact with you, and they can just get in contact with you for an initial chat.
Of course you can.
They can do so. So thank you so much, Luke, for talking to me today. And I know that if I'd known you when I needed a financial planner, you would definitely be my first port of call. So
no worries.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. See you again soon.
Bye.